Hey everybody, welcome to Crack Pack Tuesday, number 133 on the Mana Leak. I'm John as always, and we've got ourselves some Unstable. We're going to open this for the next couple of weeks or so, see what's in it, and see what we would take pack one, pick one if this was a draft. Now, of course, Unstable is about fun, and so the first pick may be just a really fun pick, but we'll talk about the power as well. I have drafted this once, and I'm hoping to draft this several more times, including on stream, so keep our fingers crossed for that. Up first is Wild Crocodile. Wild Crocodile is 1 and a green for a host creature Crocodile. When this creature enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This thing is fantastic for fixing your mana. If you're playing Urza, you want to be base green with Wild Crocodiles, preferably augmenting it so you get repeatable basic land search as opposed to just the one time. But solid card, nowhere near a first pick though. Up next is Success. Success is a single white mana for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's a host creature or has augment, it gains lifelink until end of turn. Simple little combat trick. There's not much going on here. It's a very black bordered card if it didn't care about host and augment. It's something that you'll play if you're being a little bit aggressive and in a white deck, but it's not something you're excited about. Up next is Merman. Merman is 4 and a blue for a host creature human fish. It's a 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Merman's totally fine if you're playing a little bit later game, and I do find that unstable games tend to go a little long, if not a lot long. A 5-drop 3/3 is fine, and drawing a card is great. If you get something attached to this and start drawing multiple cards, it becomes fantastic. Nowhere near a first pick, though. Up next is Willing Test Subject. Willing Test Subject is 2 and a green for a creature Spider Monkey Scientist. It's a 2/2 with Reach. I'm not sure why, maybe the tail. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher on a die, put a +1/+1 counter on Willing Test Subject. Pay 6 mana, roll a 6-sided die. Willing Test Subject is totally fine. As a 2/2 for 3, it's doesn't pass the vanilla test, but it's fine, and having Reach, I guess, slightly pushes it into the playable range. But if you are in green, you're probably rolling a bunch of dies, and getting a single counter on this makes it very, very solid, and more counters is just great. As well, being a mana sink is really good, because as I said, this format's pretty slow. Willing Test Subject, pretty solid, not a first pick. Dirty Rat is up next. Dirty Rat is 1 and a black for a 1/1 host creature rat. When this creature enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. 1/1 for 2, not a big fan of it. Having my opponent discard a card on turn 2 or 3 or 4, not a big deal. Mind Rot is begrudgingly playable in some formats, and that's because you're playing it late and getting 2 cards for 3 mana. So I'm not super big fan of Dirty Rat. Augmenting it still doesn't get that much better. Dirty Rat's a card that I probably just wouldn't play. Unless I was just desperate for host creatures or something like that. Next up is Box of Free-Range Goblins. Box of Free-Range Goblins is 4 red for a sorcery. Roll a 6-sided die, create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to the result. This is a very hard sell, because unboxing that box of Free-Range Goblins and finding 1 inside is not great. We're paying 6 mana for this. We want a 6/6 for 6, ideally, and that's a 1 out of 6 chance of getting it. Getting anything less than 6 is just not good enough for me for a Box of Free-Range Goblins, so I don't think there's a deck for this. I don't think there's a die-rolling deck where you want to play this. I don't think there's a token deck where you want to play this. I don't think there's a boring normal aggro deck where you want to play this. So Box of Free-Range Goblins, not a first pick, and probably just thrown across the room. Our final common is Gnome Made Engine. Gnome Made Engine is 4 generic mana for a host creature construct artifact as well. I always forget about the artifact because it's like chopped off and down there in the rules text. It's a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature token. This is fine. Basically a 3/3 for 4. It's the creature that I can never remember. Is it a hill giant? Is it a gray ogre? It's a hill giant, isn't it? Pretty sure it's a hill giant. And if you can get it repeating, paying 5 mana because you've made it a steam-powered engine, or every time it blocks or something like that, getting a 1/1 token is going to be pretty solid. This is fine. It's not a first pick. You'll probably happily play it in a lot of decks because it's colorless and it fills up, and because you're taking contraptions, usually you have to play some stuff that isn't the most amazing perfect cards ever, and that's some of the fun of Unstable, but not first picking, no made engine. Up next is Suspicious Nanny. Suspicious Nanny is 4 and a blue for a creature human spy rigger. Remember, this is a rigger. I often forget that riggers are outside of red, and they aren't always goblins, and they aren't always Goblin Explosioneers watermarks, but it is a rigger. Whenever Suspicious Nanny deals combat damage to a player, it reassembles target contraption that player controls, which means you gain control of one of your opponent's contraptions, and you put it on one of your sprockets. And it's a 3/4. 3/4 for 5 that reassembles contraptions on hit is decent. The trick is your opponent might not be playing many contraptions. They may not be assembling. They may be, green-white. And, I guess actually white assembles a lot of contraptions. Green-black. And they're just not going to assemble much. So this card it's somewhat of a hard sell as a main deck great card, just because of that variability. But I did play it in my blue-red Riggers deck, which even had a Steamflogger boss, and it was a pretty good deck. I did go 3-0 with it. And Suspicious Nanny was solid in it. I stole 1 or 2 contraptions throughout the course of the night. But I don't know quite where to pick it. I think you pick it late. I think you definitely pick it late, and I think you often sideboard it out, so not a first pick. Chittering Doom is up next, and this is a card that I'd happily first pick and go deep on. 3 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher on a die, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Squirrels are obviously super fun. 4 mana, do nothing enchantment. Yeah, that's kind of sucky, but if you're in green, you're rolling a lot of die and hopefully making a bunch of squirrels, and then maybe you've got the Willing Test subject, so you're getting a squirrel plus a counter, and you can really go deep on it. So this is a really big payoff for going deep into an archetype. So I'm gonna first pick Chittering Doom, but let's see what else we have. We have More or Less. My favorite flavor text of the entire set. More or Less is a single blue mana for an instant. Add or subtract 1 or the word 1 from a number or number word on target spell or permanent until end of turn. This is fantastic. It's solid removal, which a lot of people forgot. Somebody would block. I was playing this with Target Minotaur, actually. So somebody would block with their 2/2 Willing Test subject, and I would play More or Less, making this into a 2/1 or perhaps a 1/2, plus prowessing up my Target Minotaur. More or Less is really good. Really, 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 really good. And I would first pick it. It's combat trick. It's removal. It's a counter spell at times. There's so much going on with More or Less. It's super powerful. I would happily first pick it. Let's skip past our rare and let's check out the contraptions first. Our first contraption is Treadmill. Treadmill is a common artifact contraption. It's a Order of the Widget contraption. Whenever you crank Treadmill, until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+2, gains vigilance, and becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. So +1/+2 in vigilance, that's fine. This is one of the contraptions that I would probably play just to have contraptions in my deck, just to get that extra value. I don't think you play every contraption, depending on how many you got, that is. And this is on the cusp of being one of the ones that you probably don't play. But I think I would start playing it and see how it goes. But because it is on that cusp, it's definitely not a first pick. Our other contraption is also a common Order of the Widget contraption. Whenever you crank Applied Aeronautics, until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0, gains flying, and becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. Getting flying is definitely better than getting vigilance. It doesn't get the +2, but that hopefully doesn't matter. You're hopefully flying over. It doesn't matter if your creature is still an X1. It's still going to deal some extra damage. This is one that I probably just always play. It's not amazing. It's not something I'm going out of my way to get. It's something that I might even just wheel, but probably not. But it's not a first pick. We have 2 rares, I should point out. We have a Hydradoodle as our non-foil rare. Our Hydradoodle is XX green for a creature Hydra Hound. It's a 0/0, and as Hydradoodle enters the battlefield, roll X 6-sided dice. Hydradoodle enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the total of those results. It has reach, it has trample, and it has just gorgeous art. It's so bright, it's almost like hurting my eyes. Great art. Really, really looks good on a Magic card. Hydradoodle seems great. XX green. So if you cast this for 6 mana, you're rolling 2 die and hopefully getting a 12/12. you might get a 2/2. So there are some problems there. But boy, it just seems like such an utterly powerful creature if you can get even sword. I think 2 die is kind of the best because you will average out to like a 6/6 for 6 mana, which is pretty solid. And if you can get extra mana into this, it's just going to be huge. So I'm pretty happy with Hydrodoodle. I think I would consider first picking it for sure. Our other rare, our foil rare, is Better Than One. Better Than One is green and a white for a sorcery. A person outside the game becomes your teammate. You basically become a 2-headed giant versus your opponent. It's a very fun card. I saw it played. Obviously, we saw it played on the pre-release as well, and that led to some shenanigans happening. I would first pick this and play this if I'm having a lot of fun in the format. And so I think it would be the fun first pick in this pack. I think Hydrodoodle is the true first pick in this pack. But yeah, I super want to play with this myself just to get a feel for it. The one downside, of course, is that if you're playing in a draft, like in an actual tournament at a store, this is a dead card on turn 2 in game 1 because everybody else is going to be playing a game, probably, depending on if you have spectators or whatnot. But I would probably give this the fun try. So this is the fun one. This is the I want to win one. We also got a forest, lovely, lovely full art forest, and we got a foil spirit token with the full art spirit on the back. Love these tokens. I love everything about this set. This is one of my most favorite sets that has come out ever. It's some of the most fun I've had drafting. If you guys haven't drafted this yet, get out and draft it. It is so much fun. But let me know what you would have taken. Would you have taken the Hydrodoodle? Would you have taken Better Than One? Something else in this pack that you really want to take? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeak. That's LEEK, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeak, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeak, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeak. If you like the content, click that thumbs up button. Click subscribe if you want to see more. And if you do have questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see you all next time.